Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest in studio this morning is Connie Miller with DeWitt Savings Bank. Connie, good to see you. How are you today?
I'm great.
Thanks for coming out and talking with us. And it is tax season, Connie, which of course brings a lot of things, making sure we file our taxes, making sure we maybe, and we can talk about this maybe closer to actually rebate season. I feel like it's a little early for that, but maybe utilizing those rebates well. And of course, the four-letter word of scams, and that's going to be the topic of conversation today. Before we get into tax scams, though, you've got a couple local incidents you want to talk about. What's going on here?
Well, not necessarily local,
but
things that have been going on. I was doing a little research on tap to pay debit cards because we were learning, these are safer. You should use these versus inserting them in the machine.
I love tap.
Well, they're good, but they're not scam proof.
Okay.
So I did a little bit of research on them and I learned of some really disturbing scams. So I wanted to just make people aware of them because they might not be. So tap to pay is really nice because you just put your card on there and you're out the door, right? And you might not necessarily see what amount you're paying either when you tap to pay and walk out the door. Well, that's
the trap I fall in. It's like just okay, whatever. There's
and people know that. So there's been increasing fraud with that where they say you're paying a certain amount, like they'll tell you $4.10, but they really put $14.10 on your card.
So how do they do that?
They just add too. But there was a report, an expose I saw on TV, and a gal was charged $48,000 on her credit card.
Oh my.
Yeah, or 40. It was $40,000 on her debit card.
Well, mine would bounce, so they couldn't do that to me.
Oh no, you'd be surprised.
Oh really?
Until you hear what happened. It was like everything that could possibly happen happened to her. So she worked in the city, and someone was on the side of the street asking for money for some charity, and so he's like, it said something about $10 to charity. And she's like, sure. So they had a machine to tap to pay. And she went to tap to pay. And the guy said, it didn't go through. So she did it again and again and again till it worked. Well, she thought she was giving them $10. And in fact, you can see on the screen, it could say $10, but they're really charging you more. So she was charged for each of those transactions 8 times $5,000.
Oh my gosh.
And she didn't know that. She thought she was giving a one-time $10 donation.
Yeah.
So she had no alerts on her phone that this went through. Secondly, she had overdraft protection. So you would think, I don't have that much money in my account, it will decline. She had her savings account connected to her checking account, and the gal had
which is probably pretty common.
Yes, and she was saving for a down payment on a house. So she had the money. And so the money went from her savings account to her checking account to cover those. But one thing that she also had on her account, and which you should have, is a per day or per transaction limit on how much you can charge. Hers was set to $500, but the bank overrode it.
Oh, wow. Why would they do that?
I don't know. So it was big bank, a bank that's known for making a lot of bad decisions. I'm not going to say the name. It's no one around here, but she did everything she was supposed to. She had a police report done, reported it right away to her bank. They investigated it and they would not give her her money back.
Oh my.
And part of the problem is that it was a tap to pay. The money was gone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because it went straight to this fake charity and they couldn't trace it and get it back.
Oh, wow.
So
that's not good.
So that's something to consider. Now, in that case, I am sure I didn't hear the rest of the story. I am sure because she had a $500 limit on her account that she eventually was able to get that money, but they initially denied it, or at least she would have been out a lot less.
Holy cow.
But I bring that today as like a, hey, look at this. This can happen, and it could be a perfect storm.
Yeah. Well, and I'm sure there's folks out there, and I have this thought. It's like, okay, but where was she shopping? Like, surely she wasn't at Walmart, or she wasn't at, the grocery store, right? I mean,
right. She was on the side of the street giving a charity a $10 donation.
okay.
So that could be you or me, we're walking downtown Chicago and there's someone there asking for money for a homeless shelter or something. You think, oh, great cause, only $10. I'll give you $10. And they're like, oh, we've got a machine reader. You could we make it easy. Just tap to pay. So it could, but you don't even know if that's a legit business.
Sure.
But think about it online, or you go on Etsy or something like that. That's the same kind of thing that you could fall for, is something like that. I'm saying like not reputable vendors.
Yeah, sure.
But the tap to pay part could be anywhere. It could be any of these little vendors.
Sure.
It could be also, we're seeing an increase of people seeing on their account, I only authorized $5 charge, or I went to the grocery store and I thought I spent $75, but there's an extra $10 charge. So those are sometimes things too that you don't realize because you don't keep the receipts, or you just throw them away. You don't look at your account. Or so what they're talking, ways to prevent things like this. Well, first of all, if you are planning on giving money to charity, make sure it's a reputable charity. They're going to tug at your heartstrings, of course, like that. But also, don't have the overdraft protection. That's a huge issue that I see with a lot of people. They think, well, if I don't want to have to pay $29 if I have an overdraft fee, I'd rather have the money just come out of my savings account. But that means they have a scammer has access to whatever's in your savings account along with your checking account.
Oh, really? Wow.
So if you can keep your checking account balance low, move money in as you need it, and not have overdraft protection, that's going to help you too. Because if you have, let's say you're saving for a house and you don't have a savings account, you're like, we'll just keep saving in our checking account. Not a big deal. You have 50 grand in there. That's 50 grand that a scammer could get.
Sure. Yeah, definitely. Connie Miller, DeWitt Savings Bank, in studio with us this morning. So kind of just begs the lesson of, just kind of keep track of those transactions, and, particularly when maybe you're in a place you're not familiar with, make sure.
Yeah. Anytime check your transactions. You can put alerts on your phone, on your account to tell you every time your card is used, and you can see how much it was used. And if it wasn't an authorized transaction, then you call your bank or get in online on a reputable website. Don't ever click like a link. Is this you? Did you charge this? Because that could be a scam as well.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Interesting stuff. Anything else you've noticed on the trend of scams, Connie?
I actually got one the other day. It was a scam where they texted me saying my flight had been canceled. Don't know how they knew I was flying. It could have just been a random, your flight has
coincidence, because you were flying,
here.
right?
Yes. And so it was like, click here to change your flight. And it was actually the airline that I was flying. So that was even creepier. And I clicked it, and right away I was like, wait a second, this doesn't look right. And I got off of it and then went on to my app and checked my app, and there wasn't a canceled flight.
That's weird.
It was really creepy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Do you think, I don't know if you want to speculate, but do you think like somebody has like flight log information of
something, or somehow knew about it? But we're seeing more and more of that too.
Yeah.
And with AI now, people can write texts and make things look so legit. They can make you click on a link and then it looks just like your bank's website. So they're getting more sophisticated all the time.
You talked about listening to the interview with the library gals before you came on this morning. They have an AI program tonight, actually, about just kind of recognizing AI and not falling susceptible to some of those scams and such. So
and with AI, that's something you have to be really careful. People will put in personal information when they're trying to generate like an AI letter or a resume or something like that. Then your information is now out in a broad database, like a Chat GPT database for other people to see.
Mm-hmm.
And we were in a meeting for the bank. It was bank human resources. I'm the human resources person at the bank meeting. And a fellow was telling us a story about another competitor of his putting in AI, looking for doing a 5-year plan for their bank, comprehensive plan. And he put his own information in to generate it. And the competitor got his complete 5-year plan, all of their data about their company, everything.
Through just the AI entry. Wow.
Yeah, because it shows the sources later. If you choose to ask for all your sources, and he was able to click on the sources, and it was this person's data.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, scary stuff. So be careful with AI. Yeah. Wow. That makes me rethink some AI things I've done a little bit. Yeah. Very, very, very interesting. Very interesting. Any other trends you're noticing, Connie, before we go to break here this morning?
One that I thought was disturbing as well is Apple. They've been doing, how they will tell you like, oh, you have a virus, blah, blah, blah. Well, they're doing this thing now where they will send you a text message and say your account's been compromised. And then they will call you right after they send you the text. So you think it's legit and tell you you're going to get a ticket, and you get an email with a ticket from Apple. And so then they ask you for the codes on it, and then they steal your account.
Oh, see, I always get chastised for being an Android guy. So,
and possibly could work with them too. I doubt it though.
I doubt
it's all
it.
Apple, I guess. Yeah.
Huh. To all my Apple or to all my Android haters out there, as my kid would say. Anyways, wow, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff.
Scary.
It is. Well, Connie, I tell you what, on that note, let's take a break and more scam talk, because it's tax season, and there's plenty of that going around as well. Connie Miller, DeWitt Savings Bank, our guest in studio. More to come on the morning show. WHOW.
Let's check the markets now on the RFD Radio Network. I'm Jim Taylor. Corn, beans, and Chicago wheat higher at this hour. March corn up a penny, 4.26 3/4. May corn up a penny, 4.34 1/2. December new crop, 4.55 3/4 up a penny. March beans up 5 3/4, 10.66. May beans up 5 1/4, 10.77 3/4. New crop November, 10.79 1/2 up 4 1/4. March Chicago wheat, 5.28 1/2 up 3/4. March KC wheat, 5.34 down 1 1/4. March bean meal, 293.60 down 90 cents. March bean oil, 54.20 up $1. Livestock trade, March feeders, 365.80 down 55 cents. February live cattle down 62 cents, 237.55. February lean hogs, 88.02 up 27 cents. Energy market, March crude oil, 62.70 up 56 cents. RFD Radio Network.
The WHOW Morning Show is now video streamed live on the WHOW WEZC DeWittDailyNews.com Facebook page and on the new WHOW TV YouTube channel. Watch Morning Show host Seth Lawrence interview guests live, as well as watch archived video podcasts of any interview you missed. Whether on Facebook or YouTube, we're providing 2 more ways that Central Illinois' local news station, WHOW, delivers compelling content for you.
Wellness starts with prevention. Book your annual appointment online today with SIU Center for Family Medicine in Lincoln by clicking their icon on DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know. Your friend in Central Illinois. WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. Again, Connie Miller, DeWitt Savings Bank, in studio with us this morning. And Connie, we were talking about filing taxes. Of course, this is something I'm going to take up here in the next few weeks, is getting my taxes filed. And Yeah, I want to tie in the conversation of AI and maybe gimmicks you see on social media. Because I mean, I'm gonna, I normally my wife does it, but I'll do it this year for us, and I've never done it before, so I'm probably going to utilize AI to help me walk through some of the things. So I guess, is that a good idea? You're giving me a sketchy look.
No, I would not recommend that.
Oh, okay.
Just to give you an idea, the other day I put a few things in AI just to check it out and see how accurate it was. And it gave me incorrect information on several tax items. So I would not use that. The best source is the horse's mouth, right? So irs.gov is going to give you the best guidance and the best information. That's the place that they're the ones making the rules. So you might as well read it from them, right?
Okay.
We're seeing a lot of social media things that are actually, some of them are fraudulent that they're having people do.
Like what?
So to give you an idea, they're telling people to overstate their withholding, like make a fake 1099 or a W-2 saying you earned this much and this is this is how much you withheld, which is illegal. And you can get in a lot of trouble for doing that. So don't do that. Household employment, saying you had, so like saying inventing fictional household employees that you paid, but you didn't. And they tie all these numbers back. If you have a fake employer and you have fake withholding, they're going to figure it out eventually.
Right.
Because the employers have to send in their what they withheld. And so if they don't get a W-3 from this employer, they're going to eventually, it's all going to not tie up and you're going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
And there will be penalties and fines.
It's probably a little more complicated than this, but have you seen the memes on social media where it's like government tells you to file your taxes. Okay, well, how much do I owe? And it's like, well, that's up to you to figure out. Okay, so here's what I figured out I owe. Well, that's wrong. We're going to come after you. Like, I'm sure it's a little more complicated than that, but that always cracks me up. It's like at the end of the day, the government knows how much we owe them, and then we get in trouble when we don't get it right.
It's pretty easy in theory now to do your taxes because most people just take the standard deduction because it's so high. So it's I thought it was 31.1, but someone on the radio on my way here actually said 32.2 for married filing jointly. So if that's your standard deduction, most people are not going to have property taxes and mortgage interest more than that and charitable deductions. Some will, but like they said, like 85% of people take the standard deduction. So using reputable tax software is an option. There are a whole host of shady tax preparers right now. And they might offer you online, we'll do your taxes. And they might base their rate based on how much of a tax refund they give you.
Sure.
And some of those companies will give you fake tax refunds. Say your tax refund is this much. You file your taxes and later it's all bogus and you don't get that money because they put a bunch of credits that aren't real, whatever. And eventually it's figured out and they're gone with your money. So be very careful. There's a lot of good software you can use, like H&R Block. You can do it yourself. The library has the VITA people and they're all vetted. And I believe that they have to have a background check. Don't quote me, but I think they do.
You would think with it being AARP.
Yes. So those programs are very reputable. You don't want somebody stealing your information or it's sitting somewhere in someone's office and they don't have it locked up. They don't have, you got to think about this. Their computers have to be secure. Their servers need to be secure.
Right.
Some of those scammy tax preparers too, they don't have what's called the PTIN. It's a preparer's tax ID number. The IRS requires you to have that to file other people's tax returns.
Okay.
So they might file the return without even putting a number in or not even file the return.
Oh, really? Wow. Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
What other scams should we be aware of this tax season, whether it's in filing our taxes or whether it's once we get the taxes filed and that rebate comes about? How about that? I know that's going to be a
refund.
Or
not
refund,
a rebate,
whatever.
but yeah, it's a refund.
Sorry.
Well,
tomato.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding with you.
So,
Thank you for that.
So in theory, first of all, file your taxes as quick as you can. There's less chance that an imposter or scammer can file taxes for you if you already filed them, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So,
is that a thing?
Oh my gosh, yeah. With all the data breaches now, people make up fake tax returns, try to get your refund from you.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
And so be careful with that. And I mean, like you hear a lot about like divorced couples and they go back and forth on who gets to claim the kids. And then you always hear, oh, my spouse filed the taxes right away, even though it wasn't their turn, so they could get the refund and that or the credit. And that happens, that does happen. But file your taxes right away as soon as you can. As soon as you have the documents you need, go ahead and file your taxes. Do it with a reputable preparer. But something you mentioned about the refunds. When you have a large refund, it sounds all great and dandy, like I'm getting all this money, but you just gave the government a free loan during that whole year when that could be your money to pay your bills or pay off debt or save for college, whatever. So the goal is to pay what you owe and no more. So you're required to pay what you owe, but sometimes what will happen is people will they'll pay more by accident, or they switch jobs and they're paying more than they thought they had to pay. The government's holding on to that money, right? Sometimes you don't get it for a while. And if, let's say, there's some kind of fraud, they might hold on to it for a long time because somebody else is using your number, and they might say, hey, we still have to verify that. That money's in limbo. You won't see that money for a while. So be careful when you do that. Yeah. They do pay you interest, though. I will say, if your refund sits there for a while, I had a friend who was sick and didn't file her taxes for 2 years. And when she did file them, she did get a refund and they paid her interest on the money that they owed her.
No kidding. Wow. Interesting stuff. That's probably not standard advice to do that, though, right?
No, you need your money. You worked hard for it. Don't give it to government.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Very good. Very good. Connie, I think the conversation is going to be fascinating as we go through this tax season for sure. In the meantime, if folks have questions about scams, can they contact you and walk through things?
Yeah, absolutely. At the bank, all of us are very proactive about scams and have resources. So feel free to give me a call. My number is 217-935-9470. That's the main number to the bank. And if they suspect any fraud on their accounts or anything, call their bank right away.
All right. Very good. Connie Miller, DeWitt Savings Bank, in studio with us. Network News comes your way now.